is on your end. So guys, we're going to go ahead and use that chat box one more time just to make sure that you guys can see the PowerPoint clearly. All right. Excellent. Perfect. So, guys, hey, again, welcome to the seasonal class that we did decide to run. Again, for many of you, know I'm working with yourself and your families. I'm Chris Noble, one of the head golf recruiting coaches here at NCSA. Some of you might be with Abby Phillips. If so, welcome. And really, guys, my goal here tonight is just talking about tournaments, talking about, first of all, things that you need to understand from a golf tournament standpoint, what coaches look for, certain events, organizations. What my game plan is tonight, guys, I'm going to spend about probably 15, 20 minutes here. That's my goal, at least, with the PowerPoint, and then I'm going to open up to you guys for questions. So we'll get through the information here. We'll go over the PowerPoint, and then I'll open up to you guys, see if you have any questions or anything that maybe we didn't cover here this evening. So, guys, just giving you a little bit of background, especially if some of you are with Coach Abby. Again, from Michigan originally, guys, in terms of my junior golf career, if you will. High school, I was a 4-time member of the Michigan High School Athletic Association All-State team. 2011, senior year, I was runner-up for the state finals, all-conference for 4 years. With the 2010 AJGA, the Coca-Cola Junior, I was kind of my claim to fame with the AJGA. I was runner-up in that tournament. And, guys, for my college days, Holy Cross College, across the street from Notre Dame, freshman year, national championship, qualifier for the team, 2-time NAI Academic All-American, and Collegiate All-Academic team for 3 times as well. And again, guys, I've been with NCSA here since June of 2016, and really, being a huge part of, I think, the recruiting process with the families that I work with and continue to work with. It's been a lot of fun. So it's been a great opportunity here. And really, guys, for the outline here tonight, like I said, we're going to talk about kind of from a college coach standpoint, generally what they look for in tournaments, going over the idea of local events, moving our way to state, regional, national events. So understanding really what all those categories mean. Some examples of tournaments, tours, organizations, the AJGA. I know a lot of you that's probably some big questions here tonight. What is it? How do I get into these tournaments? How do they run their events? One thing I'm really excited about, guys, is talking about the AJGA, the ACE grant, which, not getting too far myself, but understanding what it is and how it can help you and the family even pay some of your travel, some of the expenses if you guys play in the AJGA, talking about follow-up techniques to communicate your recent play to coaches, and next classes to attend as well, and of course going over questions that you families have as well. And I think I have a question from Kieran, and you may not have any sound. Kieran, if you can hear me, bud, just try to refresh the page. It might even be on low volume for you, too. Guys, just give me 1 second here. I just want to send a quick note. He's able to hear in. Perfect. Okay. Perfect. Okay. In any way, like I said, going over questions that you and your families might have as well. So with that, guys, let's just go ahead and jump right in here, okay? So what college coaches look for in tournaments? So for a lot of you guys, I know we've talked about the idea of high school golf as opposed to tournaments you're playing in the summer. So the main difference, guys, between especially high school golf and, tournaments in the summer, organized events, really the way that they're set up. So first of all, multi-day tournaments. Normally, guys, when you play in college, you're going to be playing at a 36 or a 54-hole tournament, 2 or 3 day tournament. So these coaches want to see that you have experience, right, playing those caliber, those quality events. As you all generally know, your high school tournaments are just 18 holes, just a single day event. So it doesn't really show coaches how you are able to play and compete, especially on a multi-day circuit. He's huge. So for my guys in here, really starting to look at, especially for my sophomores, for my juniors, guys, we need to start looking at courses closer to that 6,800-yard mark or longer, really as close to that 7,000-yard mark as you can. That's part of really, guys, what these college course played at, especially for men's golf, is really close to that 7,000-yard mark. For my ladies in here, 5,800 yards and longer. Again, as close to that 6,000-yard mark as possible. So really, guys, trying to show these coaches that, hey, not only you're shooting good numbers, playing well in these tournaments, but these tournaments playing in are going to be very close to, again, the college realm, multi-yardage. We need to showcase these coaches that, hey, we can make that transition from junior golf into college golf very easily. Right? And to see that you're shooting good scores on those quality of courses that are identical to really what you're going to find at the college level. So really, guys, as long as you are playing in these multi-day tournaments, right, at those type of yardages, I promise you, those are the types of tournaments, those are the types of events that coaches really want to be seeing from you. Okay? So that's from a high-level overview here. Now, a question that I get quite a bit, guys, is what college coaches look for in tournaments, in terms of what types of events do I need to be, looking at, winning. So let's split it up here from a division level standpoint. So really, your Division I coaches, even D2, your top-tier programs, if you will, these coaches need to see these national events. The AGA, American Junior Golf Association. This is the PGA. This is the LPGA Tour of Junior Golf, okay? And part of the reason why coaches put such a big emphasis on the AJGA is because the way they run and set up their tournaments, it's as close to what you're going to find at the college level. They're generally going to be 54-hole events, and normally from a yardage standpoint, again, set up very, very close to that 7,000-yard mark for boys, 6,000-yard mark for girls. So these coaches know that if a junior golfer can compete in these events, they're going to be ready for the college level. USGA, the U.S. Boys Junior, U.S. Girls Junior, U.S. Amateur, U.S. Women's Amateur, even the U.S. Open, U.S. Women's Open. So, and keep in mind, guys, if your handicap is low enough, you can play in those. You can play in the qualifiers to try to get your way into the fields. Regional, state, and local tournament wins. So, you guys, and I underline wins there. Not only do these coaches want to see that you're playing in these caliber of tournaments, you're competing in them, but they want to see that you are winning. Okay. Now, as we move our way down to your D3, NCAA D3, and it looks like I might be having a little bit of problem here. Second, guys. Awesome. Anyways, with the NCAA D3, okay, and your NAI and your junior college. Now, keep in mind, guys, and a conversation I think I've probably had with many of you is just because a D3 or an NAI or junior college school might be thought of as a lower division level, that doesn't mean that it's not competitive. So, yes, those coaches still want to see wins. They're a little more flexible in your tournament play. So rather than making that huge focus on your national events, they're going to be okay with regional, state, local tournament placement. Notice that I didn't put wins in there. I said placement. So, yes, we still need to be competing in tournaments outside your high school realm, right? But there's going to be more flexibility from a tournament standpoint. You don't need to focus nearly as high on the national events, but they still want to see that you are competing, you're playing, and, hopefully being able to get a few wins as well. So, like I said, guys, D1, D2, really a huge focus on the national. D3, junior college, they still want to see those multi-day events, but they're a little bit more flexible in the type of tournaments you're playing in. We don't necessarily always need to be winning, but we do need to be playing. So a high-level overview there. Level of tournament play. So like we talked about here, local, state, regional, national, what do these mean? Okay, so your local and your state tours, really, guys, these are tours and tournaments that are run in your immediate area. It could be through your local golf association. It could be through your state golf association. So I'll give you an example, like with Michigan, it's the GAM, so the Golf Association of Michigan. A lot of times they'll run kind of junior or local events. A lot of times, guys, these are going to be 18-hole events. So these are single-day tournaments. Played at shorter yardages. So for your guys, 63, 64, 6,600 yards. For your ladies, probably 52, 55, 5,600 yards. Smaller fields, and they're going to compete at various age levels. So I'm sure a lot of you guys in here, you've probably played in tournaments that it was boys 12 to 13 years old, 14, 15, 16 and older. So again, you're going to be competing against players closer to your age realm. Now, as we get to the regional events, again, these are going to be 36-hole events typically, competed only against one field as opposed to those various division levels. So it would just be basically a field of boys, right? Whether you're a freshman, a junior, or a senior, and again, girls, the same goes for that. So really competing against probably people that are going to be a little bit older than you and have a little bit of a stronger skill set. Now, as to our national, again, those are going to be those 36, 54 whole events, so those 3-day events. There may be a few 72 in there too. An example would even be like the Optimus International event. Typically that one is 72 holes. And then normally there will be a cut, guys, after the second day of the play, very similar to what you see on tour, for the PGA or the LPGA Tour. And again, yardage-wise, for your guys, 7,000 and 6,000 yards for the women. So hopefully that gives you a little bit of a better idea of kind of differentiating the local to the regional and the national level. Okay. So keeping that in mind, guys, let's take a look at some of these national junior golf tournaments. Now, granted, keep in mind these are not, unfortunately, guys, I couldn't necessarily put the whole comprehensive list, but these are definitely going to be some of your big four from a national junior golf circuit, if you will. The first one is the AJGA, so that's the American Junior Golf Association. Guess nationwide, guys, so 12 to 19-year-olds. I did provide there the phone number, kind of office, the site as well. And again, guys, that, in terms of playing in those events, if you can play and compete in those, and we'll talk about how to get into the fields here in a moment, but that is really when you know that, hey, I'm ready for especially that D2, that D1 realm. If you can prove yourself at the AJGA, again, that's the proving ground to really show that, hey, you're ready to take on some high-level college golf. Okay. Hurricane Junior Tour has gotten a lot bigger over the last few years. I believe they're in over 40 states now. They may even be in more than that. Again, it's nationwide, 8 to 18-year-olds. Tour, International Junior Golf Tour, the IJGT. Again, that's another nice circuit to be looking at. FCWT, probably for a lot of my families in California. I believe they're still pretty big out west. Again, that I wouldn't put it quite as high as the AJGA, but very close. Tour and the 19-year-olds. So again, guys, these are going to be these 36, those 54-hole tournaments, really play those longer yardages. So, and again, the recording will be sent out to the families here. So if you guys want to write some of that information down at a later time, absolutely can. And even looking at some of the regional tours here too. Premier Junior Golf Tour, that's definitely one that's run in Florida. I know I have a few of my Floridian families that do play and compete in that. Rocky Mountain Junior Golf Tour, so that's going to be for a lot of my families out west. Even in some of the central states, again, a nice regional tour, typically multi-day 36-hole events, top 50 golf tour. Typically that one's run in Florida and Michigan, 12 to 18-year-olds as well. The publication, many of you probably subscribe to them. They have a nice junior circuit as well that is typically run throughout the Midwest in the spring and the fall months. Another thing, guys, to keep in mind, especially with some of the regional tours, generally their events are going to be in the spring and the fall months. You will see some of them that will run in the summer. You're going to find more of the summer events more at that national circuit, whereas some of these regional tours are going to mimic what the college golf schedule is normally going to look like. So could even be starting up here as early as March, going through even May or the early June months, and then starting back up late August, early September through November, December too. Okay? So hopefully that gives you guys just a few other ideas with some of the tours. And I think, unfortunately, I might have a little bit of background noise here from maybe one of my families. So, guys, if by chance your microphone may be on, if you want to just go ahead and put that on for me, would be excellent. Just that way we can kind of eliminate the background noise. Double check. I can probably see here. Because I do appreciate that as well. Okay. And I do apologize. Just went one slide too far here. Okay. So let's talk a little bit about the Junior Golf Scoreboard as well. I know I get a question on this quite often. So there's a great feature, guys, on the Junior Golf Scoreboard website where you're actually able to search for tournaments. We're able to search for events. And the cool thing is their events that you're going to be finding on that website are all going to be at least 36-hole events. So, and the way that you guys basically can get to this page, you just go to juniorgolfscoreboard.com. Okay, you would click on the tournament, basically sub-tab at the top of the page. You would then click on search for tournaments. As you guys can see here with my kind of screenshot of the page, you can put in the year, you can put in the state, country, for some of my international families, in terms of your age, show tournaments for boys, show tournaments for girls, and again, it's going to come back here with a comprehensive list. It's going to give you guys the website. Normally, it'll give you the tournament director. Really great feature, and like I said, these will be 6-hole events or longer, and the cool thing is all these tournaments will be then used for the Golf Scoreboard for their rankings as well. If there's any follow-up questions on that, but a great site to definitely be checking out. Okay. Now, shifting gears here, guys, and spending a little bit of time on the AJGA. So this is a question I get quite often. And really, as with the AJGA, the way that I like to say it here is, especially get into some of these fields, it's not always that easy overall. So basically, how do I compete? So the AJGA, they use something that is called performance-based entry, okay, or PBE, if you will, okay. And basically, guys, with the PBE, they look at your performance stars. So simply put, your performance will basically determine your acceptance into a certain tournament, into a certain event. Okay, and especially with this, the easiest way that you can start accumulating these stars, guys, are finishes at really state, regional, national level tournaments, as well as AJGA qualifiers. Now, I'm going to do something here, guys, just for a quick second. I do have, let's see here. I do have the AJGA website pulled up, and I'm going to try to bring that up here in a quick second. If I can't, they have on the AJGA website, if you go to ajga.org, you will find under tournaments, there will be performance-based entry. There'll be a tab that is devoted to it. You can actually click on that and go to the PBE map where you guys can click on the state that you're located in, and it's going to come back with a comprehensive list of tournaments and events throughout the year where you can start accumulating these performance stars. Okay, so I would really encourage you guys to look at that site and really look at some of the tournaments that are going to be run again throughout the summer, where you guys can start accumulating some of these stars. And really, the way to think about it, guys, especially with the AJGA, the way to determine it is by the amount of stars that you have. So what I mean by that is you have to apply to get into a field for the AJGA. And let's just say that Johnny has 10 stars, right? But when you look at the amount of players that signed up for it, if the field is cut to 50 players, and let's say that 50 players or more had more than 10 stars than Johnny, well, Johnny is not going to get into that field because, again, there were 50 players above him who had 11 stars or more. So the easiest way I can explain it is the more stars you have, the better chance you have to automatically get into the field for an AJGA event. If you're a freshman, so my 2021s in here, by signing up with a membership with the AJGA, you automatically get 1 star. If you're a sophomore, you get 2. Okay, if you're a junior, you get 3. Apologize on the typo. Senior, you get 2 stars. Just by automatically signing up for AJGA membership, you would automatically get those stars. Now, again, with the AJGA, if you guys finish in the top 50 of a field, 50% of a field, you automatically get one. If you get a top 10, you get a certain amount. If you get a top 5, you get a certain amount. If you get a win, you get a certain amount as well. Also do look at junior golf rankings, so like Junior Golf Scoreboard, for instance, guys. Golf Week, Sagarin, that's not as well known, but they do look at that as well. So best thing for you guys to do is, one, by signing up with that membership with the AJGA, you get those amount of stars. Looking at, again, some of the qualifiers for some of the open qualifiers, if you will, the day before the tournament, and other tournaments, again, that would be recognized by the AJGA using that PBE map, looking at some of the other tournaments and organizations. Again, finishes can get you some stars in there too. Okay. Talk a little bit now, guys, on this ACE grant, the AJGA ACE grant. So it is basically, it's a grant that covers expenses that would be incurred by you, by the player and the family, when it comes to attending AJGA events. So even other select USGA junior events, so I believe the junior amateur, the boys junior, US amateur, other state championships as well, not necessarily high school, sorry to say, but basically if you guys would apply for this grant, and it's very similar to financial aid for college. It's basically the exact same way, so they'll look at a lot of your financial information from a family standpoint. You could very well be able to get your expenses paid for from a travel, lodging, even food. So basically anything, even the entry fee into the tournament for that week. So as you can see, travel expenses, food and beverage costs, housing costs, a lot of tournament qualifier fees. In order to apply, guys, for this grant, go to the website, theajga.org, under the AJGA programs. Tabs, if you will, you guys would click on the ACE grant. Again, it will be very similar from the financial aid standpoint. When you are applying to colleges, it'll take a lot of families' information, and again, a decision will be rendered on whether or not you were able to receive the grant. But I think it's something that a lot of families aren't familiar with, guys, and something that I personally have just been made aware within the last few weeks, and it's information I want to share with you. Because again, I know these AJGA events aren't cheap by any means, so just being able to get a little bit of extra help, and here's just a slide with some of the numbers. As you guys can see, over 1,700 juniors awarded the grant, even from playing opportunities in 2017, over 800, again 3.6 million reimbursed to recipients. Probably the biggest number there in scholarship dollars received by ACE grant graduates, 14.8 million. So they've been very successful with the program overall, and I know one that they want to continue families to really start applying for it. So definitely something to look into, guys, here in the next few weeks, next month or so. If you have immediate questions on it, I'd be more than happy to answer what I can, but for more of the specifics, I would encourage you to contact the AJGA, and their office can answer more of the specific questions for you too. But I want to kind of provide you guys that information here tonight. So bringing things full circle here, guys, and trying to communicate some of our tournament play to coaches. So as I've spoke with a lot of you here already, trying to make sure when we figure out that 2018 tournament schedule, make sure we're getting that out to coaches, okay, that you're interested in, that you're talking with. Because remember, these coaches want to come out and watch you play, but they need to have that schedule ahead of time. So as we've talked about, just trying to put it together on a really simple Word document, Excel spreadsheet, whatever's easiest for you guys, and trying to proactively send that out to coaches, okay, and say, Coach, here's a copy of my 2018 tournament schedule. Hope you make it out for a few of my tournaments events this year. Send proactive updates to coaches, again, through your tournament play throughout the summer months, trying to, again, include your score, your finish, yardage played from, course rating, and slope. All that information is very helpful. Guys, apologize again. I think we're having somebody might be watching a movie there in the background. If by chance, again, you might have your speaker on, if you can just throw that on mute. That'd be great. Thank you. But again, just trying to put the score, the finish, the yardage played from, course rating, and slope. Very, very important there too. So just communicating it to guys. So not automatically thinking that a coach is going to look up your tournaments and events, but really trying to send that out to them. Very important, okay? So next classes to sign up for here, guys, if you haven't yet, are 101 on emailing college coaches. We have our 201 on building relationships. Deals with phone calls. 401 deals with campus visits. A lot of these will be happening for you guys this summer. So some great classes to sign up for if you haven't already. And guys, what I'd like to do now is open it up to you and your families for questions. And again, I do hope that some of this information here tonight was helpful. And again, I don't want to spend too much time on the PowerPoint. I want to be able to kind of open this up for you guys, for questions. So please feel free to use the chat box here tonight and ask any questions that you might have or anything that we might have covered in the PowerPoint that you do have follow-up questions on as well. I do time here this evening. As you're probably maybe thinking of a few questions here, here's what I'd like to do is actually share my desktop with you guys. And just where we can look at the AJGA together, just so I can show you the kind of the areas that we were talking about, just to make it make it a little more sense here. So as we were talking about there for the ACE grant, if you go to AJGA programs, okay, you would just click on the ACE grant itself, okay. And again, that would bring you to this home page here, just kind of talking about the mission, are you eligible? So again, you could even look at this financial aid calculator where you can put in the annual household income, household expenses, assets. So that's kind of a initial way to do it, if you will, but you could also click on the apply button there, kind of download that ACE grant information. Our timing on this is great, as you guys can see. Applications did open on February 1st, so just a few days ago, and does roll throughout September 1st as well. So that's for the ACE grant. And then if you guys would be interested in that PBE, or that performance-based entry, again, under the tournament section, you would just highlight your mouse over that. Okay. And that would go to the PBE map. And again, you can click on the state that you might be located in and be able to come up with a list of tournaments and events that could actually very well get you some performance stars for the AJGA. Okay? So trying to give you guys a little bit of information on that here tonight. And I apologize about the kind of the background here as well. Again, I know one of the families here, I think we do have sound, and I think I might have found it here. So, Angelica, I think you might have had your sound on. So anyway, sorry about that. And I think we have a few questions here. So a question from Evan. Tournaments versus junior boys tournaments. Can you just be a little bit more specific on that? So I believe what you're meaning here would be like your state amateur or state open, as opposed to just tournaments that have junior players themselves. Yeah, and I'm glad you brought that up, guys, and that's something I didn't necessarily mention in the PowerPoint. Is especially for a lot of you, you have your state amateurs, right? You have your state opens. Trying to up for a lot, even from a qualifier standpoint, those look great on your tournament schedule. Those look great on your tournament resume. And the cool thing is, you'll generally be competing against people who are possibly 10, 20, 30, maybe even 40 years older than you. So it's a little bit of a different feel for you overall. But again, those are tournaments that are generally run very well, longer yardages. Generally, it's going to be multi-day, might even go to a match play. So, Evan, if you have the opportunity to compete in some of those state amateur events this year, along with some of your junior events, those would also look great on your resume. You brought up. And then Paul, and I think Paul might have wanted the classes slide, so let me pull that up again. And Paul, as we're just kind of talking here, let me see if I can pull back that PowerPoint though for you, just so we can revisit that together. And let me get classes slide. And so again, Paul, just the next classes to sign up for there, again, that would be the 101, the 201, the 301, and the 401 class. So again, those go through the kind of the main marks, if you will, in terms of communicating with coaches, emailing, building relationships, having phone calls, going on campus visits. Don't feel that you have to sign up for them all at once, Paul. What I normally suggest is like one a month. If you can do one of these a month, that would be great. Again, just trying to make sure that we are able to get through, some of those main classes. Perfect. Follow-up questions on that, okay? And let's see here. We have our next question. Let's see here. I believe Rachel, okay. And your question is, how many tournaments should we play throughout the summer? Glad you brought that up. So, a big thing, guys, that I don't want you to do is burn yourself out. We've all been there. I know I have. I'm not going to say there's a perfect number because there isn't, but Rachel, if you guys can average, I would say 2, 3, or 4 events per month, that'd be great. Again, the more the better, obviously, just to try to showcase, consistency. Because remember, guys, one good or one bad tournament is not going to make or break a coach's interest in you, right? They want to see you over a span of 6 months. They want to see you over a span of a year, and they want to see consistency. The more tournaments you play in, the better chance or the better opportunity you have to showcase that consistency. But again, I don't want you to feel that, man, I got to play in a tournament each week or 2 a week, and you can burn yourself out very easily. So if you can average somewhere in that 3, 4, maybe 5 events per month. So, if we go June, July, August, so that'll give you about probably 15 or 20 tournaments in a summer. I know that sounds like a lot, so if you don't feel that you can play in that many, that's okay. But again, just trying to get in as many as you can to really showcase that consistency factor. That's helpful. Let me know if it's not. Let me know if you have follow-up questions on that too, Rachel. Okay. And then we have Emmy. Emmy's question. Do you suggest we join all those associations, or would you say Rocky Mountain and AJGA suffice? Glad you asked that. I say, Emmy, if you guys are looking at Rocky Mountain and the AJGA, that would be excellent. I would say that would suffice. Don't feel that you have to join a single organization out there. Again, I know it can get expensive, especially with membership fees, tournaments, items like that. But if you're able to compete in, I would say, at least one regional event, as you are with the Rocky Mountain, one national event, that's perfect. It's really perfect. Maybe in the addition there, if you guys want to throw in like the state amateur, the state open, even if Emmy, if your handicap's low enough, again, I would encourage you to look at the U.S. The Girls Junior, the U.S. Women's Am. Those also look great. But yeah, if you guys are in the Rocky Mountain, the AJGA, I think that would be excellent here. Be excellent. Okay. And Emmy, let me know if you have follow-up. I know you have a follow-up question here in a second. I will get to that as well. Give me 1 second, guys. Just trying to go through all the questions here. Okay. Question from Lisa. James Juniors would be a bit behind if just started by applying to AJGA. What are your thoughts? Okay. To the question there, Lisa. Bit behind if just getting started by applying to AJGA. What are your thoughts? So, and if this doesn't answer your question, let me know too. But I believe with what you're asking is, just by applying to the AJGA, well, they may not necessarily get me in the tournaments and the organization. So the way that I look about it is it's a stepping stone, right? And that's part of the reason why I included that local, that state, that regional, that national slide. A lot of times when you're just looking at applying national events without going through the stages, what you're going to find is a lot of times a junior player might get discouraged, and they might say, man, I can't even qualify for a tournament. I can't even qualify to get in the field. And it can almost do the exact opposite, really kind of knock their confidence down. So what I suggest for you guys, Lisa, is If you have played and seen success at the local to state level, awesome. Now it's our turn to start looking at the regional. So Hurricane, even Rocky Mountain, even with the top 50, right? Some of those multi-day events, that would be our next step. If we see some success, especially at that regional level, okay, perfect. Let's look at the HAGA. Let's look at the Future Collegians World Tour. Let's look at some of those more national circuits, but really going through the stages. So I would say if especially this summer, you guys are looking for more national events, by all means, let's definitely sign up with the HAGA. But at the same time, if you can at least get in one of those tours that again would be more of the regional, so that way again you guys can get some experience, you get some tournaments under your belt, and maybe still trying to qualify for an HAGA event at this point in the season. That would also be excellent. So hope that helps. If not, let me know, and we can always have a follow-up conversation on that at a later time too. I know Em's another question here. Do we need to find tournaments in the states where we wish to attend college? Awesome question. Need to, but it's not a bad idea. And what I mean by that, guys, is especially, let's just say you're a player from Michigan, right? You want to go to school in the Carolinas. Normally, a coach probably from the Carolinas is not necessarily going to travel to Michigan to tournament. So if the family would love to make a trip and you see that, hey, there's an HAGA event, there's a Hurricane event, there's a Golf Week event, in Raleigh or Boston, whatever it might be, yes, that would be awesome, but try to communicate that to the coach that you're interested in, right, or the colleges, so that way they know you guys are traveling, they know that you're competing and playing. What I would also encourage you to do, Emmy, is try to let them know that you want to schedule a visit. So if they can come out, watch you play, and maybe even schedule a visit, you can kind of kill two birds with one stone, lack of a better term. So it's a bonus. It's always a bonus. Let me know follow-up questions on that. I'm glad you asked that. And we have a question from Rachel. In Texas, do you know of other organizations good to join? Yes. So, Rachel, I would say the TJGT, Texas Junior Golf Tour, would be at the STPGA, which is the Southern Texas Junior PGA Circuit. Depending on where you live in Texas, there's the North Texas Junior PGA or the NTPGA, Texas Junior Golf Tour, so the TJGT, the STPGA, Southern Texas PGA, or the North Texas PGA, NTPGA. Those would be all three really good tours to be looking at. I believe there's also the Beltway. Let me double check on that here. Yes, there is a Beltway Junior Tour, and that's also in Texas. But I would really encourage you guys to look at, especially the TJGT, NTPGA, and STPGA. So remember that Junior Golf Scoreboard website, right? That website I showed you guys. You can also put in your state, put in the months. You can look at other tournaments here too. Perfect. Okay, so let's see here. This is good, guys. Give me a second here. Question from Keith. Give me 1 second here, guys. Let me get to Keith's question. Are there any financial aid for international students to play U.S. Junior Golf Tours? That's Keith. Knowledge, Keith, I do not believe that there is. Now, granted, keep in mind with the HAGA, with that ACE grant, but I would encourage you guys to look at that because whether you're US, whether you're international, especially if you guys are looking at the HAGA this summer, and again, remember there are some of the US GM, some of the USGA events that could help. That could really, really help you. The ACE grant is really the biggest one at this time, the only one that, again, from knowledge, Bud, that I am aware of. That could also be something that we could look at a later time, but I would encourage you guys to look at the ACE grant. And again, that could be a huge help if you guys are looking to possibly some HAGA events or some of the SGA events, even this summer as well. Let's see here, guys. Let's see. what next question we have? This is great. Jackie, how soon after emailing a coach should you send them your 2018 golf schedule? Okay. Jackie, give it, what I almost suggest is let the coach respond to you. And hopefully getting a response from the coach. And then, what I would say is, once you're able to get a response from the coach, a lot of times they'll probably ask for it. In the coming weeks or coming months, they'll probably say, hey, keep me posted on your schedule. What you could do is after they respond to it, maybe give it a week or 2 weeks and just, send it back over their way. If by chance you would send them that intro email, right, and they don't respond to you, as talked about before, try to follow up in that phone call and try to contact them. So the biggest thing I would say is just trying to get a response from the coach first and foremost, and then once we're able to get that response, if you and the family have it already have it made out, let's send it over. Because really, the more time that you can provide these coaches to plan for your tournaments and events, the better chance that you have of them actually coming out, watch you play and compete. So, good question. Question, David, what about trying to qualify for professional tournaments? Okay. Not a bad idea, guys. I don't have a lot of, juniors that, normally have tried for that. But again, if there could be an opportunity, a sponsor's exemption, hey, it happens. It happens from time to time. By all means, I say it would be a great idea, especially if there could be a sponsor's exemption or, there could be a qualifier, for the tournament, whatever it might be. Again, just making sure that, we as an amateur status, so that we don't, take any of the prize money or anything, especially if we were getting field. So, that would look very impressive on the resume. But I would say, hey, yeah, if we have that chance, we have that opportunity, let's go for it. Let's go for it. Question from Lila, any good tournaments for girls on the East Coast? Yeah, Lila, on the East Coast, off the top of my head, again, I know there's the Peggy Kirkbell Junior Tour. I believe that's in the Carolinas. What I would defer to, again, unfortunately, with our class and our time here tonight, I couldn't include every single tournament or event. What I would say for you guys, though, is check out that Junior Golf Scoreboard website and go to the tournament search engine and maybe, because you can select, I believe, up to 3 states at a time. And again, especially if you're looking for like Virginia or, West Virginia or, wherever it might be, especially, you can kind of put in the names of the states there. And again, that'll kind of give you guys a better feel on some of the tournaments, some of the tours. Peggy Kirkbell, I know, is pretty well known. That's one that's kind of coming to me off the top of my head. But check out that Junior Golf Scoreboard website. Check out the tournament search engine feature. If you have follow-up questions on that, let me know. Okay? You're welcome. Absolutely. Okay, guys, let's see. Now, this is great. I think the next question we have here is from Liam. Do local one-day tournaments earn stars for the AJGA? Liam, to my knowledge, local events more than likely would not. Again, what I would encourage you to do, though, Bud, is check out that kind of what I showed you there on the AJGA website. If you go to that PBE section, if you go to the app and you click on your state, and whatever tournament might be popping in your head, you could see if it's on that list. If it is on that list, then yes, it would, earn stars. More likely, though, especially if it's a one-day event, it more than likely will not. Generally, it has to be a multi-day. But check out that PBE section on their website and check out that map to see if the tournament you're referring to would be on there. And then, Emmy, what about junior colleges? Good idea or bad? It's not a bad idea by any means. Again, it's a chance for you to get some college golf under your belt. It's a chance for you to keep your grades up. It's a chance to kind of get your gen eds out of the way, especially if you might be unsure from your major standpoint, right, in terms of what you might be looking for, in terms of studying. So it's not for everybody, but I have had plenty of junior golfers. Have had lots of friends go that route, and especially if you're looking at a chance to kind of prove yourself, get some college play under your belt, kind of get those gen eds out of the way, things like that. Again, I think that would be a great idea. I think that would be a great idea. Okay. And guys, before I forget here tonight as well, do apologize. I should have probably sent this out a little bit earlier. That's okay. I did want to share with you guys this link to the survey that we do like to share with families. And basically with this survey, guys, what we try to do with this is just ensure that we are providing you and the family the best tools for reading. So if you guys just had, as we're in here tonight, I think I still have 24 families, if you guys just had like 5 or 10 seconds to fill this out for me, I'd really, really appreciate it. That would be excellent. So let me send this out to you guys right now, okay? And again, I appreciate anybody that would be able to fill that out for me tonight before you head out of the class. Thank you. Now let's back to the questions here. Okay. And then we question, I believe, from Michaela, are there any organizations in Arkansas? Okay. Michaela, I do have a quick second here. Let me get to the Junior Golf Scoreboard website here. Okay. Let me click on Arkansas. Let's go for 2018 here. Let's see what comes back. So AJGA event coming up here. Let me see here, Michaela. See if you can find any specifically in Arkansas. So I have the Arkansas State Golf Association. I have Arkansas PGA Junior Tour. So it looks like they have a Junior PGA, South Arc Junior Golf. So what I would say, Michaela, again, just unfortunately have a ton of time to look at that right now. We can always have a call at a later time too if you want to specifically look at a few things. But check out the Junior Golf Scoreboard website. Let me know what you find. Again, I think I just see the AJGA on there right now. Just did a quick Google search and I just did Junior Golf in Arkansas. So this brought me to the Arkansas State Golf Association, the junior schedule for 2018. It gave me the South Arc Junior Golf schedule as well. So set out. Let me know what you find and follow-up questions you have too. Screw that up though, okay? Next here. Evan, is Maple Leaf Junior Golf Tour still a good tour? Yes, it actually is. And especially, again, Evan, I apologize, but I like I said, I know I didn't spend much time for my Canadians. Maple Leaf is good. Again, I know even with the, what is it, let's see, and a few other ones in Canada as well. I think there's the Canadian Junior Boys or the Canadian Junior Golf Association, the CJGA, and I believe the Maple Leaf. Those would be the two main ones, Evan, especially in Canada. So those would still look great. And again, I know coaches do like to see a lot of those tournaments, and I believe that they are recognized by the Junior Golf Scoreboard. So good play in there could also get you recognition from the Junior Golf Scoreboard as well. Okay. Question from Bill. I have received the Hurricane tournament schedule. Is there any particular must-attend events that recruiters prominently visit? And Bill, so recruiters, would you mean kind of coaches on that? I believe you probably mean that, right? In terms of coaches coming out and visiting. It's difficult to say exactly, what Hurricane event which might come out to, or what, one that not. The best way to go about it, though, Bill, is trying to make sure you get that schedule out ahead of time. Because, again, the junior player is somebody that the coach would really be interested in, right, seeing them play. We have to get that schedule out. So I would say the Hurricane events that are probably going to be the most attended are going to be the ones that are the most communicated from the junior players to the coaches. Your AJGA events, without a doubt, though, Bill, will be the ones that are most heavily attended from college coaches, without a doubt. And again, it's just the fact that it's the proving ground, right? I mean, Tiger's been through it. Ricky, Lydia Ko, for my ladies in here, and Speed. So your big names, it's just kind of the proving ground. But again, if we send out, whether it's a Hurricane event, whether it's Top 50, Golf Week, again, we just need to make sure we're communicating our tournament schedule to these coaches to make them come out. Okay. Do we have a worse or better chance of a D1 scholarship? So, I mean, it's difficult for me to necessarily say that just here tonight. I have to be a question kind of in a coaching session with either myself or Coach Abby. A lot of times, Emmy, it depends on your tournament play, right? And that was with the junior college question. Okay. I apologize, Emmy. There's just been so many questions here tonight. Let me just, junior college question continued. I see what you're saying. Okay, if you go the junior college route, do you have a better opportunity? Necessarily mean that by doing the junior college route, that will give you a better chance to get into D1 schools. Now, a lot of times, guys, your junior college coaches may have a relationship with some D1 coaches, and realizing that their players are only going to be there for 2 years, and then they have to go on, right? They have to go on to a new school. So it's more of a funnel, if you will, probably to that D1, D2 level. Now, keep in mind, even if you go to an NAI or a D3 school, your first year or first 2 years, you can transfer, and that's still possible. School I went to, Holy Cross, we had a former player from Canada, played for us for 2 years, played great, and transferring, is now playing at the University of Nevada. So the biggest thing for you to realize, Emmy, is whether you're in junior college or if you go the NAI, the D3 route, you have to continue to communicate with these coaches, right? There's not necessarily a rule about not changing divisions, Emmy. You can change divisions. Transferring from a 4-year school to another 4-year school, there's some red tape, and that would be kind of a conversation for another evening. But you can change divisions, so don't think that you can't. What you would have to do is kind of get a permission to contact letter from your coach at your current school in terms of allowing other coaches to contact you and to communicate with you. So you can change divisions, but yes, if your end goal is to play D1 or D2 golf, again, going that junior college route, it could very well give you a good opportunity to, some good play, some good talent, and springboard into that D1, D2 program at a later date. Okay, so let's continue here. Jessica, would college coaches prefer a tournament you can win or a tournament with better players than you? Well, question, Jessica. I would say a mix. Of course, wins look great, but if you're competing, let's just say, Jessica, that you're a player that you shoot 80, 85 consistently, and you're playing against girls that generally shoot 100, well, it's probably not going to do much for you, especially with your tournament resume, because, yes, we're getting wins, but at the same time, you're not really being challenged, right? So if you have some local events in your area in the summer that you normally play in, and when I say a few, I mean 1, 2, or 3, that's fine. But I would encourage you to look at some tournaments that are going to be multi-day, right, that are going to have some better players, have some events for you. It's kind of what I talked about before in that stepping stone, right? Going to local, going to state, going to regional, going to national events. Remember, it's a process. It's a stepping stone. But making sure that, again, you've crossed one off the mark in terms of, okay, I've done that, I've succeeded at that, now here's my next step, right? Here's my next leap. So get some wins under your belt, get some confidence up, and then that's our time to start challenging ourselves with better players than yourself. That helps. Let me know if it doesn't. And then we have, here, I think we have another question from Emmy. What kind of drive distance does a girl need for a D1 Scott? Does that not matter? I wouldn't say, Emmy, there's necessarily like a cutoff, but, I mean, again, keep in mind that your D1 courses are going to be 6,000 yards and longer. So I guess there's a perfect yardage, but I'd say, 230, 240, 250. That would probably be, some of your longer hitters. 220, 230 and above. I would say that would be important. Again, it is a factor, Emmy, but it's not the end all, right? These coaches want to see your score. Your score is going to be much, much more important than in terms of, okay, kind of how long are you off the tee. Okay. Logan, are AJGA preview events good to start despite shorter courses and less stronger fields? Yes, they are, bud. Absolutely. And again, remember with the preview events, typically those are going to be 36-hole events, and it's going to be a little bit easier to get into those fields. And that's part of the reason why the HAGA does it is, again, realizing you're not going to have many stars. So let's just say you have 2 or 3 stars, and you are going to have probably a better chance of actually getting your way into the field than an open event, right, that you might need, I don't know, 6, 7 stars, you're going to have a stronger field. So, yes, try to get in your preview events so that way you can get some play under your belt, get to what an AJGA event's all about. And who knows, if you get a top 50%, hey, you get a star. If you get a top 10, top 5 win, that's just going to give you more stars that you can use longer to the year as well. So definitely starting with the preview events before you start looking at some of the open events. I think that's a great idea. And Jessica, what is a good method of setting a summer schedule? Email, Jessica, would be perfect. Again, just putting together on a really simple Word doc, and then just seeing that as an attachment, because remember on your NCSA account you are able to send attachments to coaches. So just try to put the email together, okay, and just take the attachment, attach it to the email. Say, Coach, please find attached a copy of my 2018 summer tournament schedule for your review, and hopefully they'd be able to that and be able to come out for a few of your events. Okay, awesome. And let's see here. I think we have a few other questions. Everybody, thank you for your time. Jessica, can you play golf as a grad student? Well, a lot of times, Jessica, again, it's going to depend more on your eligibility clock. So do keep in mind, again, normally you have, you have 4 years eligibility, and you have a five-year window to basically use that eligibility. So a lot of times, the only chance that you would have is, let's just say, your probably first year of grad school, especially if you do have a year of eligibility remaining. And again, that would have to be something where if you played your full 4 years, in terms of your undergrad years, then unfortunately no, you wouldn't have an opportunity to play as a grad student. But again, depending on the school, depending on the college, what I would suggest is probably just get in touch with the office at the college and just seeing, in terms of eligibility. You can always contact the NCAA as well, and they can, give you an idea of what your eligibility is left, questions you might have. So normally it's going to be that 5-year window for that 4-year clock, or excuse me, the 5-year clock for the 4 years of eligibility. And then we say, Emmy, I'm a lefty. Have you ever heard of that being a disadvantage or advantage in the recruitment process? Not really, Emmy. I've never heard that really come up at all. Again, to golf, the great thing about our game is it's objective, right? It doesn't discriminate whether you're left-handed, right-handed, no matter, where you come from, your height, your weight. Again, it's about the score, right? And that's why I always love to say 72 is always going to beat 74, right? And 64 is always going to beat 78. So at the end of the day, these coaches want to see that, again, you're shooting good numbers consistently on, again, quality of courses that you're going to find at the college realm. So it doesn't really matter in terms of your, really your up to the ball. Left. Options tonight, guys. This is great. No, this is perfect. So, okay. Emmy, you're coming in with all the questions tonight. I love it. So here we go. Is a good NAI or D2 team a better choice than a smaller or non-competitive D1 school for strictly the golfing aspect? For example, in a cold environment, D1 versus a warmer, more competitive D2 school down south. Well, a lot of, Emmy, this is really something for all guys who are still in here, and that's something to consider, is asking yourself what your motivation is with this, right? Because again, going to an NAI or a competitive D2 or D3 school, you very well may have a better chance to compete and contribute right away. Whereas going to, like you said, a non-competitive D1 school, just to say, hey, you played D1 golf, you may not play right away, right? You may not be able to compete. So, I mean, as you talked about, again, it sounds like your end goal with this is to end up at a D1 school. Maybe not. But if you have a chance to go to a good, like a solid NAI or D2 school, contribute, play, compete, especially being in a warmer climate, being able to play year-round, yeah, I think that's going to do more for you from a golfing standpoint than going to a non-competitive D1 school. And remember, Emmy, just because it's an NAI or D2 or D3 program, that doesn't necessarily mean that it's not as good as a D1 school. A lot of times it can be as good, if not even better. Okay? I hope that helps. Let me know if it. Does a D1 golf school with very high level academics look more so at golf or academics? It's a mix, Logan. It really is, Bud. Again, a D1, whether it's D1 or D2, those schools that are going to be more academically rigorous or academically challenging, they have less flexibility, right? They need to see that you have a 4.0 GPA, right? They need to see that you have a 1300 on your SAT or, a 32 on your ACT. So you have to be meeting that, right, in order to be accepted into those schools. But at the same time, they're a solid team, they need to see that you're a good player. So academics generally are going to come first, Logan, for those type schools, but at the same time, they want to be good players. So trying to look at, again, their roster right now, looking at the scores they're shooting, tournaments they're playing in, things like that, you'll get a feel. You'll get a feel of the types of players. Remember always to ask coaches those questions, too, in the email. So, Coach, what do you generally look for in a player's resume with respect to a golf resume, academic resume? By asking those questions, a lot of times it's going to give you a little bit more of a clearer picture, but academics normally do come first. Austin's guys. I think you have a question here too. What are prep series events? Do they carry more weight than other tournaments? Okay, so with the college prep series, let me see. It might be a tour here. Prep. Just another tour here, guys. Hagen, I believe, right? I believe, guys, that it's anything would probably be more heavily weighted than like other junior tournaments, for instance. I just think it's just kind of a name of a tour, and they, again, they probably wanted to use the college prep golf tour to make it sound probably a little bit more fancy than what it is. From the looks of it, I don't know if I think these are just single-day events. I'm not even sure if these are multi-day. So I believe it's just another tour, Hagen. The fact that it is just like an 18-hole event as opposed to a 36 probably would actually hold less weight than some of these other multi-day events that we're talking about. Okay. Logan, I know you sent this in too. Are AJGA previews, despite the shorter yardage, is good to play in place? Well, yes. Again, as we kind of talked about, with the other question there. Again, that definitely would still look good, and again, it's a chance and it's an opportunity for you to kind of get some good, again, tournament experience, right? Try to be able to get some of those performance stars, and that's why they're there. They're there for people who don't have much status with the AJGA, trying to build it. So yes, if you are able to get in a preview event, especially in the coming months here, because normally they run in the spring, I would encourage you to do that. Had this many questions, but hey, I know we're to our full hour, so let's spend maybe like 5 more minutes here. Any remaining questions you guys might have, feel free to send those in. Okay. National Junior Golf Tour recognized. Chase, top of my head, I will be the first to admit I have never heard of the National Junior Golf Tour. Let's take a look at it here. See. So it looks like, okay, it's been around since '99. Looks like these are 18-hole events. Okay, so I don't believe that. We'll take that back. These might be, if they are, the easiest way I can explain, Chase, is they would be recognized. Again, remember, for the Junior Golf Scoreboard, along with the AJGA, bare minimum, they have to be a 36-hole event, right? So I would say if they are a 36-hole event and there's at least a field of 5 players or more, it will be recognized by the Junior Golf Scoreboard. With the AJGA, again, I'm going to defer you to that PBE map. Check that out. Again, if you have a specific question on a tour, I would encourage you to contact the AJGA. They're very good. They have a kind of a phone number. They have a good email. So if you have a certain question on a certain tour, if it actually would be recognized from a star, right, performance star standpoint, that would be the best bet to look at. like I said, I'll leave it open here for just a couple more minutes for any remaining questions. I hope, guys, this was helpful tonight. Again, I know we went over a lot. And again, I just wanted to kind of hit on the main points here. So I do hope this will be helpful for you and your families as you guys are building this tournament schedule here for 2018. For many of you, again, I know I work with many of you and your families, so we can always set up a kind of an individual coaching session, if you will, at a later date. We'll kind of look at some of these tournaments individually. But recording is, we are recording this class, and that will be sent out to the family here. So if you guys maybe want to look at the PowerPoint, look at some of those tours or some of the contact information, definitely take a look at that. I really encourage a lot of you to look at that ACE grant, though. Again, I think it's something that a lot of families just aren't aware of. Something that could really help a lot of you guys, this summer, especially from a traveling standpoint. So let me know if you have any follow-up questions. I really appreciate you guys' time tonight. Again, if you had just a quick second, if you haven't already, if you could just fill that survey out that I sent over to you guys in the chat box, that would be excellent. Really, really appreciate that. Just want to ensure that we are providing you guys with the best tools for your recruiting. And then I think we have one last question here from John. Okay, what percentage scholarship can a fellow earn in scholarship at a D1 or a girl, 10% full, half, etc.? Okay, so really, John, when it comes to the scholarship side of things, scholarship for a women or even men golf scholarship is very rare. And the reason for that is because at the D1 level, okay, there are a limit of 6 scholarships per team, and that's if a team is fully funded. Keep in mind the average size of a women's D1 golf team is about 8 to 10 players. So normally it's going to be a partial, right? It would be, like you said, a percentage. It would be a even, hey, this would be, the amount. To give you some information here, John, the average women's athletic scholarship for a D1 program in 2017 was $17,114. $17,114. And in mind, that's just for 1 year, okay, from a golf standpoint. That does not include academic scholarship. I'm not going to say that a full ride scholarship is impossible. It's just very uncommon, especially with the limits from a scholarship standpoint that coaches have to work with. In fact, that they normally have to have 8 to 10 players, and they only have 6 full scholarships. But just to give you an average on that athletic scholarship at that $17,000 number. I hope that's helpful. So guys, again, absolutely. Perfect, guys. So I appreciate the time here tonight, guys. We do. I'll let you guys go, and I will be sending out the recording here in a moment. Let me know if you have any follow-up questions. But, hey, best of luck to you guys here in 2018. Excited to see a lot of these tournament schedules getting up here on the profile, being sent out to coaches, too. Thanks, guys. Have a great evening. Thanks, Sammy.